So now moving right along with the door seals, we're going to go and inspect. I want to make sure that it's on properly the whole way through. Something that we see all the time is this, okay? So this happens all the time where this seal is not correctly mounted to the Jeep. All right, so this actually goes back in here. All right, you want to just do your maintenance and make sure that all your seals are properly installed. So let's move on with our investigation. What we're going to do is wet the body side of the Jeep really good. We're going to start up here at the A-pillar because that's where the seal starts. And we're going to come down the entire intersection, this rail, okay? Excuse me, and down. All right, so that's what we're going to do is we're going to wet the body side because we want to see if it is or not making a seal. Close the door, done. Open the door, this tells us everything, okay? The water doesn't lie. So as you can see, what's happening is that everywhere that there's obviously no watermark, that's where the seal is not marrying with the body. And this explains exactly why you're getting a leak right here on your door handle, the notorious drip, drip, drip. All right, moving right along. Let's follow the water path. I mean, here, there's no contact. No contact this whole way, very little contact. But here's the interesting part right here. Now, the water is coming down the seal is touching or not touching, and it's coming down. And when it comes here, look what happens. It makes a quick, instead of coming out, it makes a quick redirect. And then here, you can see the water coming down, 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 down. All right. So now, all of a sudden, the seal wants to do some water intervention or prevention, but what it's doing is making a problem. It comes down, and here you can see there's no water, there's no body side seal, but it then comes down right here, super, super, super close to the bottom of this seal that's down here. And what happens, this being the inside of the door, with this seal being so flat, it's so flat that when you go ahead and close the door, the seal's actually sitting right here where it's supposed to. But since it's flat and now it's trying to help out with the water, it's so close that it misses its exit. And what it does, right into your Jeep. So now that you can visually see and understand what's going on, that's step number one. We have to know first principle. What do we know to be true? That my Jeep leaks. We can see what's happening and then we can make the proper adjustment. Now, the proper adjustment happens to be a few things. One of the biggest problems, or the biggest problem on the Jeep, is actually the noodles that are inside of this seal. They're way too rigid, for lack of better terms. They take on these impressions, as you can see, that makes them unable to block water. So this seal should technically be rounded over so that it can make the full contact. So the space that it's actually missing, or this indent that's here, is what's not, as we saw on our water inspection spray test, is that it's not sealing here. So naturally what's happening is water's going straight over, bang, right to the door handle. So we need to go ahead and upgrade these actual, what I like to refer to as noodles, okay? So what's on here is what I call a noodle, but we're going to go ahead and replace those with my proprietary Jeep noodles, which solves a huge issue with the problem of water coming in the door. So we're going to start out with a dry seal, all right? And we're also going to start out with no leak here on the panel. So just by reading the seal, I can tell exactly what's going on. And we're also going to see, because of the seal, what the impression, the water impression showed us, is that it's not making a seal here at the top of the door, which leads to the drip on the door handle. Now let's go ahead and test that theory, okay, and see what's going on in real time. Okay, door is closed. I'm gonna go ahead and spray into the Jeep. Okay, let's just give this a good dousing of water. All right, just right in this area, the problematic areas, and just directing it like an open faucet into your Jeep. Okay, not play around with this. Okay, we'll come down, and then I'll stop for a second. And you can see water is exiting, okay, up the back of the door, but we'll get back to that and see exactly what it is doing. Now that it's rained for 30 seconds, let's open up the Jeep and have a look-see at what's going on. All right, so now we've opened up the door. Bingo, bango, we have our drip. All right, now let's look down here. Don't worry about that. That's just dripping from here. That's the drip. The one that we're concerned with, see, did it again, is this one here. This is exactly what's happening. This is exactly what's going on in your Jeep. All right. The water is doing exactly what we saw on the seal. This has nothing to do with it. This is going to continue to drip because it's coming off the freedom panel. But the water is not doing its job and it's not exiting right here. All right. Why? Because the seal is way too close because it's flat and not making any type of seal. And the water comes straight down. And instead of exiting here, it's actually entering here. But what's happening here is the water is crossing over, but you have to remember, this is just, it seems like one stream going across, but that's not the case. Remember that what's feeding the leak is the faucet. All right, so it comes straight down, and this is providing a constant flow down the door all the way. Down here is where you're actually seeing it, but what it's actually doing is filling up underneath your carpet as well. All right, so let's have a look at the seal that's actually here in this door provided by Jeep. All right, now this seal that's here, I mean, it's ripped in half, so, you know, just bear with me when you're taking them out because we're going to take them out and throw them in the trash. Well, we'll throw that half out. All right, the problem with this actual deal that's in it is that it is in two pieces. So the two pieces, one goes here, all right, and comes down, and then the other one goes back. All right? It's leaving an indentation here as well, too. And another thing about this is it doesn't even fill up this actual door seal itself where it makes contact with the A-pillar mucket. It's actually really small, and you can see actually where it's making its impression. So this is dictating the problems that you're having in your Jeep. This rubber deal is super hard. Okay? So when you take yours out of your Jeep, I mean, this is rubber. This is, I mean, there's no compression to this. It's just a hard situation. So let's take it over here to the Jeep. When it goes ahead and closes, this is what it's doing, okay? So the other part that I threw on the floor goes this way, all right? So when it goes to close, it's slamming here, and it's not making the right door seal because no body side seal. All right, so here is the body side seal. So it runs down here this channel where it should be, all right? And it actually comes down, and then it goes behind this mucket here, and then it comes down as well. Here we continue to follow. It seals the bottom of the door, tucks behind here ever so cleanly, and goes right all the way around here as well to give us just a complete seal on the door. Anywho, let's move back up here. With the seal, what it's doing is it's just pushing itself. And as you can see here on this A-pillar mucket, it's not even flat. Let's explain this portion of it here. The freedom panel is actually sticking out further than the A-pillar mucket, as you can see. This noodle comes to close here, and because it doesn't conform or anything, it just chills out there, leaving this gap. And then this gap is what leads to the door handle leak. So there's a couple of issues going on here. No body side seal, okay? The panel being pushed out further than the A-pillar mucket because the A-pillar mucket's job is to actually seal with the door seal, which it's doing a horrible job for many reasons, which we've gone over. But then this comes over here and makes situations worse. So let's have a look at the back of this door seal. So I'll give you a look-see at what's actually in here. This noodle, okay, is actually what's inside of here. So there's one here, and then there's another one right here. And because this gets crushed, it's making that low point, that impression on the door. But the problem is the fundamental flawed design. This makes an L. They never intersect. It's not one continuous piece. So with both in there proper place, it's making a low spot right there. Now you might be saying, what the heck is that? All right, this is what's creating a ton of leaks in your Jeep as well. This is a noodle that's actually shoved inside this seal that's right here on this portion of the door. It slams here, right here on this button. And as you can see, it's obviously bypassing. So water's coming through and then it's creating water, and then water is then entering into the vehicle. We'll go ahead and remove these because this is nothing more than problems.